Hello, welcome to Access. I'm Rob and I'm here with Dave.
Hello.
And this is Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. This is brand new PS4 gameplay, and both Dave and I have been playing this game extensively and thoroughly enjoying it. Dave, you kind of dabbled in previous Metal Gear games, but you're not like a hardcore series fan.
No, I'm not really a fan at all. But I like Metal Gear, but nothing like yourself, Rob. Who's what's the word?
A Kojima file.
Okay,
that's what I'm going to call myself.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is a video. We're going to talk about how Metal Gear Solid 5 really kind of shakes it up and changes the gameplay, because a lot's been said about it. And the first thing that I instantly noticed was the absence of like a soliton radar or a camouflage system, meaning that the way you kind of find out where enemies are is by doing this. You mark them.
Yeah.
You have to kind of get your binoculars out, you mark them, find out where they are, and there's kind of, you know, in the old games there'd be like little linear corridors or hub areas, and you'd kind of react organically to guards as and when they arose and came up, and you'd sneak past each individual guard and you'd be into the next area. Whereas this, it's open, there's no kind of interlinking hubs, it's all just one big area.
Yeah.
You've really got to, and the game encourages you to use your binoculars and to mark enemies, and you know, that is how you kind of get a mental image in your head of the area that you're in.
Vigilance and surveillance, seemed key to me. Like, I mean, you start off outside Camp Omega here, and just instantly just making notes on where people are, and they do stay in your field of vision. I think it's when Snake sort of comes to a standstill and stuff, you get like a little ghost image of where they are and what they're up to, and it's really, really important. And
this is like I love this bit of gameplay. You've really got to kind of get creative about how you actually get into the areas you need to go to, because it's so open. There's not really corridors you can hide behind, and you know, just sneaking through like you would do in previous Metal Gear games isn't always going to be the best option. So here, Snake's put a bit of C4 on that tower and he's blown it up, and that is going to cause a distraction, which clears these guards out of this area here.
I must admit that I didn't think of anything that creative. I mean, you sort of have to pinch yourself and really think outside the box. I think there's a lot more available to you. There's a lot more options than you would usually expect from a game. And
that's what I think. You know, Ground Zero. That's the whole point of Ground Zero, as Hideo Kojima said, and you can hear him saying that in the interview we've got on our channel already.
Yeah.
You can't just play it like you were playing previous Metal Gear games. Like when I first came to this area, I did sneak in like I was, you know, playing old Metal Gear games.
Yeah.
You know, trying to pick a route through it like it was like a linear area, and you know, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
You know, I got spotted. I end up just running around shooting people. I mean, you can do it. You can sneak in there.
Yeah.
But there's, you know, it really does encourage you to get creative, and you know,
there are so many other options. It's just, you know, you can creating diversions and stuff like that. There's so many ways to create diversions, and use like alerts to your advantage rather than being completely sort of terrified of them and stuff.
The key to it is kind of like managing the area, managing where you want the guards to go, and there's loads of different ways you can control where you want guards to be. This I absolutely love this little segment of gameplay here. Snake has got to get into a specific spot. So he's got this kind of sleeping guard. He leaves in the road there because he's seen that there's a truck coming. So he kind of hides behind here. And also, we should point out that this is the daytime now.
Yeah,
the time of day is a really key element as well, because patrols will be different depending on whether it's during the night or during the day. There'll be less patrols at night, but guards are a really good source of information as well.
That's right. So, when you sort of grapple with them, you get a choice, don't you, Rob? You can just sort of knock them out.
Let's have a look at this.
Interrogate them.
This here. So Snake's put a bit of C4 on this truck.
He's basically made a big mobile bomb.
Yeah. And he needs to get into that base there. See where that door's just open?
Yeah.
Where that door is always shut. And the ingenious thing he does is...
boom.
Blows that truck up so it's kind of stuck in the door. The door is now stuck open. And there are multiple other ways to get inside that area, but that is one very creative way.
Funnily enough, the way I got in that area was I hid in the back of the truck. And just climbed into the back and drove straight in.
And we were just talking about using guards to your advantage. You can listen to conversations. These two guards are having a conversation here about a prisoner that is due to be executed. Yeah. They can be having other conversations. They could be talking about like an ammo cache, for example. Oh, I saw a bunch of bullets over by the helipad, that kind of thing. You know, colloquial conversations that guards would definitely have. So he's listened to that conversation there, and we're going to see a little example now of the options you can have when you actually, you know, hold up a guard. Before they would, like, you could shake them down for ammo and stuff, but here you can make them get down on the ground, which kind of just puts them out of action.
Yeah.
You can interrogate them, and they'll, you know, maybe tell you a bit about where some ammo is, or tell you where a key, you know, just give you a
character
little,
stuff. They mark all kinds of things on your map, don't they? And yeah, the other one was call. Was it call for backup?
Call for backup. Yeah.
So you, again, like creating a diversion, you get people to run to that area where that guard is, and take them away ultimately from something they've been guarding. This is how I got into the base here, was in the back of this truck, which I think this guy's about to do.
Genius. A good thing to do, though, I made a guard call for backup, but I didn't really have an escape plan.
Right.
And all the guards just descended on my position. You know, and here's the prisoner here that those guards have just been talking about. So now that we're going to see Snake kind of planning how he's going to get this guard out of this situation. And there's like, we're going to see a little bit of a flash of action now. And there's another big change in when you get spotted, which we're going to see in a minute. So obviously Snake's marked all these guards so we can see exactly where they are. Gets his grenade ready. Perfectly timed.
He's not afraid to use it.
No. And when you get spotted, there's this little kind of swoop of slow-mo where you've got maybe a 3 or 4 second window.
I think that's about right, yeah.
To take it, and sneaks 2 perfect headshots. And he's also shot the light on the guard tower over there, which prevents the guard from seeing him up there.
The game's going to call for, I mean, amazing little bits of action like that. There's going to be a lot of that, I think, because the game's so open. There's so many different ways of dealing with things. We're going to see some amazing ways that people deal with problems differently.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were out at Konami, they had one of the developers play us through, you know, show us his take on doing this level, and he did some amazing things.
This is quite what I do. I just run.
Yeah.
I find myself doing this quite a lot.
He was taking out lights, like he took out like a power generator that turned off all the lights in the base and stuff, and he was using anti-aircraft guns and all kinds of stuff.
I mean, that's the kind of tactic you'd only be able to use at night as well, if you choose to go in at night time.
Exactly.
And obviously, Kojima was saying about how the Phantom Pain is going to be 200 times bigger than this. Wow. I don't know quite how that works, whether it's just going to be one enormous map, or whether it's going to be kind of like Campo Mega-sized hubs. This is the CQC combat, by the way. You can kind of chain together attacks like that, like you were able to do in Peace Walker, but this is kind of the first time in the main numbered series that CQC's received that kind of, you know, sophistication. And vehicles, that's another huge thing. You've never been able to drive vehicles before.
Yeah.
So you can, you know, extract prisoners on them. You can use them as a fast means to get around. Obviously, you will get spotted if you just drive right through a guard encampment like that. But if you do get spotted, I found there was kind of, you had more of a chance to survive. Like Snake could seem to handle himself in combat a lot more than he could before. He's good with his guns. Obviously, if you find yourself in a tank like this, you can pretty much just blow everything to smithereens.
Yeah.
But there are a lot more options if you do want to actually go in all guns blazing. I still wouldn't recommend it. Definitely recommend the stealthy approach. But that is an actual option now.
Yeah,
if you want to just dash in there and shoot everything.
And a bit of both. I mean, I stealth you basically sort of get into this base, do what you've got to do, then you get out again. I stealthed my way all the way in, really, really well. And then on the way out, I found I was right near to a tank, and I thought, let's just get out guns blazing. And that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, we saw in this, you can use those sort of armoured vehicle tank kind of things. They've got guns. These are anti-aircraft guns. There's also that big truck. I think there's like a little, the Jeep. So there's lots and lots, just in Ground Zeroes, there's lots and lots of options vehicle-wise. And
for some reason he's shooting his own helicopter here.
Just because
Just for laughs. Anyway, that is a little preview of Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. Make sure you check out the channel, as we have an interview with both Hideo Kojima and Yoji Shinkawa, where they delve into a lot of detail about the kind of the changes you can expect in Metal Gear Solid 5 and also the Phantom Pain. So don't miss those, and make sure you subscribe.